There is drama in the White House, but the kind that's sort of fun for us and less existentially terrifying. On Tuesday, Vanity Fair dropped a massive bombshell two-part article in which journalist Chris Whipple interviewed Susie Wiles, the White House chief of staff. He's interviewed her periodically throughout her tenure as Trump's right hand, but this article looks into the major players within the Trump sphere of influence and power, including, but not limited to, J.D. Vance, Stephen Miller, Caroline Leavitt, and more. Also featured in the article, though, is Attorney General Pam Bondi. Bondi caught flack from Wiles in the article over issues related to the Epstein files. Wiles, it turns out, is not impressed with the way Bondi has handled any of it, which is unsurprising because Bondi handled all of it terribly. At first, Wiles admitted that she didn't think the Epstein files would become as big of a scandal as they had. I'm not sure why, considering it's the one thing that Trump supporters have always maintained a unified moral stance on. Admittedly, some of them have waned in their one moral conviction of late, but Wiles probably assumed that this issue would go away for Trump, just as so many of his issues tend to do. She told Whipple, whether Epstein was an American CIA asset, a Mossad asset, whether all these rich, important men went to that nasty island and did unforgivable things to young girls, I mean, I kind of knew it, but it's never anything I paid a bit of attention to. So she had no problem working with a man who had such a close association with Epstein, but she did have thoughts on how Pam Bondi botched the whole operation of releasing the files and then not releasing them. She acknowledged that some die-hard MAGA fans really did and do care about the release of the Epstein files, but she did not like the way that Bondi dealt with this particular cohort of Trump supporters. I think she completely whiffed on appreciating that that was the very targeted group that cared about this, Wiles said of Bondi. First, she gave them binders full of nothingness, and then she said that the witness list, or the client list, was on her desk. There is no client list, and it sure as hell wasn't on her desk. Within the article, Wiles referenced the Epstein files, even contradicting the president in doing so. For instance, she says that there is no evidence within the files, which she claims to have read, that Bill Clinton ever visited the island. The Epstein files are set to be released any day now, just by the way. Since the article dropped, headlines about the revelations have been everywhere, although a lot of it is fairly meaningless as far as how it affects day-to-day Americans. My life doesn't change, your life doesn't change, nor does this country change just because Susie Wiles doesn't approve of the way that Pam Bondi hides the Epstein files that Susie Wiles doesn't even care about. In fact, the biggest headlines that I've seen pertaining to the Vanity Fair piece have to do with the photography. Is there a shady cameraman at work? The piece featured very unflattering, up-close, and much too personal shots of people who are decidedly not models. You can see every pore, every wrinkle, every unflattering age spot, dry skin, and even injection marks from cosmetic procedures. None of it was edited out. The skin was not smoothed or airbrushed over. Makeup that was presumably done to photograph well from a distance was instead zoomed in on, betraying every unblended orange contour. And I don't say this to be shady myself. Trust me, I'm on camera all the time, and yeah, it's uncomfortable. But the photographer has been feeling the backlash. Christopher Anderson has defended his work, saying it's in line with his portfolio and his overall style, and that it's honest. It would have been more dishonest and deceptive for him to have released more flattering photo edits with the piece. Additionally to his defenses, though, he shared an anecdote that was reported by the Washington Post and has since gone somewhat viral. When asked about anything that happened that may have ended up on the cutting room floor, Anderson responded, "Stephen Miller was perhaps the most concerned. When we were finished, he says to me, 'You know, you have a lot of power in the discretion you use to be kind to people.' And I looked at him and I said, 'You know, you do too.'" One of the most unkind humans that we have all had to endure in years, maybe decades, is expecting kindness from others. If you were wondering exactly how out of touch this administration is, it really doesn't get much better than that. But Trump does appear to be affected by the Vanity Fair piece and the damage that Susie Wiles seems to have done to him and his already shaky reputation. On Tuesday night, he announced on Truth Social that he would be addressing the nation on Wednesday. And so, on Wednesday, he did that, and it didn't go well, not according to the left and not even according to the right. Trump got up there and defended his tenure as president, not even a year into his second non-consecutive term. He hit all of the usual expected tired points. He attacked Joe Biden. He acted as though the word affordability was a new word that no one had ever heard until the Democrats were last in office. Basically, he talked about how great we're all doing while also blaming the Democrats for the current affordability crisis. But he wants us all to be grateful to him for how great we're all doing despite the aforementioned affordability crisis. You get it. So this morning in the press and even last night on social media, the address has been referred to as manic, drawing comparisons to the old man yelling at the sky. The whole thing was not even 20 minutes long, but by the end of it, he was practically yelling into the camera, reading the teleprompter at double or triple the speed. It was quite a crescendo from the tone that he had originally set. So here's how he started.
When I took office, inflation was the worst in 48 years, and some would say in the history of our country, which caused prices to be higher than ever before, making life unaffordable for millions and millions of Americans. This happened during a Democrat administration, and it's when we first began hearing the word affordability. Our border was open, and because of this, our country was being invaded by an army of 25 million people, many who came from prisons and jails, mental institutions, and insane asylums.
And here's how he ended.
100% of all net job creation has gone to American-born citizens. 100%. In the end, government either serves the productive, patriotic, hardworking American citizen, or it serves those who break the laws, cheat the system, and seek power and profit at the expense of our nation. Look at Minnesota, where Somalians have taken over the economics of the state and have stolen billions and billions of dollars from Minnesota and indeed from the United States of America, and we're going to put an end to it.
Reporter Lisa Desjardins posted that she clocked his speech at 140 to 150 words per minute, which is double his usual State of the Union speed. Of course, the speech has been fact-checked by now to death, but overall the reviews were not good. And Trump could have used a win right now. Despite his efforts to blame the current economic hardships on Joe Biden, Americans overwhelmingly see him as being responsible. He doesn't even have good polling surrounding his immigration policies, which was one of the primary reasons why people voted for him in 2024. And he railed off a list of things that he has done for Israel in 2025, not very America First for the America First president. U.S. support for Israel is wildly unpopular on both sides of the political aisle. A new poll released just the day before this address found that just over half of Republican voters under 45 oppose several different aspects of American support for Israel, with only about a quarter of them being pro-Israeli support. Read the room. On top of all of that and more, his mental and physical health is clearly declining, something that Trump nor anyone in his inner circle will cop to, which is something they attacked Democrats for doing while Joe Biden was president. And for the record, Joe Biden was not falling asleep in every meeting he attended, nor is he ranting regularly on social media, nor was he yelling and scowling at the American people during an impromptu presidential holiday address. Okay, but why was the address impromptu? So he announced it on the same day the Vanity Fair piece dropped. After he did it, once the camera stopped rolling, Trump reportedly was heard complaining that Susie Wiles made him do it to distract from the mess that she had created. Detailing what happened after the camera stopped rolling in the White House diplomatic reception room, The Independent's White House correspondent Andrew Feinberg posted on X, Donald Trump turned to his staff and asked how he did. They all responded with some version of great, very good, it looked really good. Tellingly, Feinberg added, he then said Susie Wiles told him he had to give the address to the nation. It didn't help, it didn't distract, not from Trump's diminishing health, not from his bad polling, not from his bad economy, not from the Susie Wiles piece, not from the Epstein files, which are supposed to be released very soon. But when a train wrecks itself in front of you, maybe just let it. This train is moving too quickly, 150 words per minute to be exact, for anyone to reasonably jump in its path and stop it from running off the rails. We will all just have to deal with the carnage and the rubble once it's done so. All right, that's it for me. If you got anything out of this, please like the video and subscribe to the channel for more. Thanks.